gonna be an exciting one today. Cheah Meng of Freetown Collective is gonna be on at the top of the hour at 5 here in Seattle, Washington, and 8 in Trinidad and Tobago. That's in the PM. Yeah. So I'm gonna drop a couple tunes in the meantime until he pops up on the live. You know what I mean? Soca report, big up yourself. DJ X-Man, big up brother. Yo. And we got Cheah Meng coming up at the top of the hour. Of Cheah Meng of Freetown Collective. Gonna be a good interview, guys. So stay locked in. Talia, big up yourself. Big up yourself. We got Freetown Collectives. One of the founders of Freetown Collectives jumping on a little bit. Cheah Meng. Have y'all heard this one yet?
Make music of our way. Make it go in front of we. Music full of melody. Music give them harmony. Music make we brave and strong. 10,000 we take them on. When we see the enemy.
This one is from Freetown Collective and Bungie.
Before we hit the street, man I beg you guide my feet. When the iron start to beat.
Before we bad.
Make me feel complete.
We bad.
The hill, this is not a drill moving with a will of a million, thousand, billion man, woman and child coming hand in hand. We dig up.
Yeah, you don't have to turn it up and bring it up from the top, yeah? Turn it up and bring it from the top. Shut the Soca. Let's go.
Make the music of our way. Make it go in front of we. Music full of melody. Music give them harmony. Music make we brave and strong. 10,000 we take them on. When we see the enemy, them can stand in front of we. Before we hit the street, man I beg you guide my feet. When the iron start to beat, it make me feel complete.
Well, if your vibes in on this Friday,
Moving with a will like
catch all the vibes, catch all the head, you know what I mean?
and child coming hand in hand. We dig up.
Cheah Meng, are you ready, sir? If you're ready, I'm ready. Explain some of your creations in the meantime, you know what I mean? Yeah. Out of my head, you know.
You ready for the tambour night all day? Tell the job and them to clear the way. And the more drum they start to sway. Tell me to say right now. Beat drum, wake the nation. Bring out a chant so loud and clear. On top of the hill so the world can hear.
Yes, Father, yes,
Vibes
Father.
nice, the vibes nice.
Boy, hey, look, you wouldn't believe. This is my first time hearing this. I just downloaded this, you know. And the vibe's nice, you know.
Just this evening.
just like a couple minutes ago.
Well, don't worry. I hear Seattle cold. It go warm me up a little bit.
It's bad for the right thing.
I mean, the only reason I see to be bad.
Man, brother, appreciate it. Thank you so much for taking the invite to come on and spread the word, spread the Caribbean music and the culture to the Pacific Northwest.
It's only right. It's only right.
Yes,
wherever Caribbean people are, the vibes will be nice.
that is
So
right.
I have no good reason to stay away.
So, I started off looking at the Sunday vibes that you bring, with the education. I mean, it made me make a quick switch to things, because you educated me right off the bat on something that I'll talk about later on, But I have some questions for you here. And I also intend to go through the top 10 Spotify songs. So, even though I have my DJ set up and I'll just play something that I played off of my ones and twos, I intend to play the rest of the music off of Spotify. So you get your streams. Right?
You go ahead, man. You go ahead.
So, brother, tell me, 2015, you did your big tours in Canada and Europe, right?
Mm-hmm.
What happened to the US?
Wow, funny story about that. I mean, well, Muhammad's name is Muhammad.
Right.
Quite an interesting name to have if you want to have a US visa.
Right.
If you catch my drift.
I catch your drift one time.
He was not able to secure traveling permissions from the US authorities until earlier this year. So, as soon as this COVID situation clear up,
yes.
Just before COVID locked down everything, plans were already in motion for us to tour the US.
Okay, good.
But that couldn't happen before because, the visa wasn't forthcoming for Muhammad.
Right. Well, but now they know that you are the ambassadors. You guys are, ambassadors of Trinidad and Tobago.
I mean, I hope they know. I hope they know that.
And were you guys, getting a little quaky because of the situation as well in America? How, the kind of rhetoric, your boy pushing and stuff like that. Did you guys feel a little quaky, or you was like, man, on a mission, really business,
Yeah, to be quite honest, we'd never throw caution to the wind.
Okay.
But there's one thing I know. Regardless of what you hear happening anywhere in the world, people are people.
Yes.
People are people. And somebody could be reached, somebody could be reasoned with,
right.
And as such, somebody could change. But if somebody is convinced that they don't need changing, I wouldn't overstay my welcome. Gotcha. But I wouldn't use the actions of some as a reason to stay away. People is people.
Right. So, question for you, right?
Mm-hmm.
You are a Tobago man, right? Why leave Tobago? Why leave Tobago and go to Trinidad to live? Tobago is so beautiful. Tobago, I love Tobago. I'm a Trinidad man, but I love Tobago.
You love Tobago because you're a Trini man, and I love Trinidad because I'm a Tobago man. And that's the blessing of having a twin island state. You could never get fed up of your entire country because there are two islands to break up the monotony. I had to leave Tobago because I wanted to do advanced schooling. I wanted to do tertiary education. And the resources, for those of you who are tuned in who don't know, Tobago is the smaller of the twin island. It is more or less the more rural one, so it does not have all of the developments infrastructurally like Trinidad. So for advancement purposes, I had to leave Tobago. But music was always at the back of my mind, what I was born to do.
was the
So yeah, I
intention.
left Tobago to come to school to study other things and pursue other things.
Right.
But as soon as music started to end up in the mix, it had no going back.
So what, did you grow up, a lot of Trinidadians, right? Trinbagonians, you grow up with your extended family, your
Mhm.
granny, your auntie, your great aunt, everybody, sort of who were the main people that you grew up with and came over from Tobago with you.
Right. So my father, for the most part, always lived in Trinidad because of his career. There wasn't any job opportunities for him in
Right.
Tobago. So my father's side of the family are all in Trinidad. But I grew up typical family. I have one sibling, one brother. So it was my mother, my father when he's present, and myself. But in the area where I lived in the village, all of the family members lived in walking distance.
Wow.
Some were stone throw away. So I was never out of cousins. Like
Wow.
I always grew up knowing all of my cousins, making mischief with all of my cousins, exploring, developing through life, going to school, going to church. Tobago is just a family affair.
Right.
Tobago is all family when you really check it out.
So another big artist that some of the folks who review this from America are gonna know, right? Calypso Rose, right?
Mhm.
How did she influence, or were you able to meet with her and get some of that hard slap to go in the right direction and manners, as they say, in the business?
To be quite honest, I didn't meet Calypso Rose personally until probably like 2 years ago. Because
Wow,
although she's a Tobagonian, and plenty people don't know this, Calypso Rose has been a touring artist since the 70s.
wow,
Some of Calypso Rose's first world tours wasn't with Calypsonians. She toured with reggae and ska artists. Like Calypso Rose toured with Third World, she toured with Burning Spear,
wow.
she toured with Culture. Like, because also in Calypso Rose's music was some Rastafari ideology. So yeah,
Right.
I didn't have access to Calypso Rose until like Big Hardback Man, but definitely her music and knowing that she was a Tobagonian was instrumental in me being grounded in the culture and knowing that as a Tobagonian I wasn't locked away or locked off from anything.
Wow. You know, you guys' music, the way it sounds, you can't just frame it in one genre.
Mhm.
It definitely travels across different genres, within the subgenres of calypso, reggae, you know, the newer mumbo tone, all these newer things that they call it, right? Dub, ska, all these things, If you were to personify, you know, your role and Freetown merged together, if you were to personify that sound, what would it be?
The safest thing for me to say is Caribbean music, boy.
Right.
Because the more you explore all of the Caribbean islands and you're able to hear what their indigenous sounds are, you get to realize that we have not begun to explore the Caribbean sonically yet.
Right.
Jamaica and Trinidad has been at the lead of that and has kind of dominated what the narrative of Caribbean music is. But if you go to Bahamas and you hear John Canoe music,
Yeah.
which is their version of calypso, it is distinctive, it is different, the swing is different, the way they sing is different. Jab Jab from Grenada, it is different.
Different.
Uh, the swing of Bajan soca, which was very dominant in the late 90s, not so much anymore, was different.
Yes. Yes.
So if you are a Caribbean artist and you're drinking in all that the Caribbean has to offer, plus you have that African ancestral blood in you,
Right.
plus you're getting the influence of what your African brothers and sisters on the American continent doing, and you're
Right.
hearing with the Latin Caribbean. Like, there's no way that you could make one straight, neatly defined genre of music in the Caribbean.
So if it was to
It's no
look
way
like
to
a
do it.
man, if it was to look like a man, then right, it would look like
Mm.
Shabba then. Shabba in the
Yeah,
90s.
Shabba in the 90s with Douglas here.
With them perm with the
Yeah,
side
yeah, with
cut.
the side part. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Wow, wow.
if you were to personify it, yeah, that's what it would be.
Because when I look at you guys, I think Britain, especially you, right? With the tracksuits and that kind of look, right? I'm
Mhm.
thinking, yeah, Europe, flavor, but there's definitely a huge market, like for instance in Seattle, right, where they listen to a lot of what they call it. It's rock, but it's a subgenre of rock music, and like even so, one of you guys' songs, I'm Just a Human. Is that it?
Human form.
Human Form, yes.
Hmm.
That sounds like a big track that popped off in the Pacific Northwest. Rebel, I'm just a rebel with a kickstand. Rebel with a kickstand. Yeah.
Hmm.
If you listen to that song, it's either they heard you guys make that or you guys heard that somehow. I don't know, but man, it's gonna hit. You're gonna say, "Wow,
Hmm.
I can't believe," without even being over on the side, that influence got in there somehow, So, and that song is, one of these songs from 2018 that I like a lot. And it kind of goes with the mood in the Pacific Northwest.
Hmm. I mean, you touching on that just reminds me of one of the like real pivotal moments in my musical appreciation, and that was when Damian Marley and Nas came together to make that album, and aptly they call it Distant Relatives.
Right.
I believe that once you explore music bravely and
Right.
honestly, you are going to find that you're going to connect with people who you don't know the story, but clearly you all are coming from some tribe. You all belong together. You all are relatives. You all
Right.
are cousins. And so that song you were talking about, Human Form, yeah, that's straight rock and roll.
Yeah.
Our Black American cousins developed and was instrumental in shaping. So
Yes.
at no point in time that felt copying for us. In no way that felt like it was borrowed. It's
Right.
all ours.
Yes. Yes.
My
Yes.
cousin clothes is mine too. My clothes is my cousin one too. It's one family.
Your blue shirt and your khaki pants, everybody own.
Everybody own.
I like that. I like that. I also like, the way that you're able to articulate, across social, economics, psychology, business and music as well. So it's, you guys are well rounded. You must have gone to a university in the Caribbean, man. You must have.
Hmm. Yeah,
Um,
man. Give thanks to Gate for that. If it wasn't free, guys. But yeah, we took full advantage of tertiary education when it became affordable and free. You
right,
know, although knowing that being artists is what we ultimately want to be, you have to take advantage of the opportunities to broaden how you see the world. Because if you
right.
broaden how you see the world, you also broaden how you see yourself. And you broaden how you see yourself in the world. So yeah.
Yes. There's a misconception amongst, DJs, and, the fans of, right, DJs and entertainers and these things, right, where, especially in Trinidad and Tobago or in the Caribbean, where they might not see, the benefit of education, and just, see the glitz and glamour part of, the rock and roll lifestyle or the calypsonian lifestyle, how do is that a responsibility of, artists like yourself who are developed and traveling to, come back to these schools and tell them, watch, don't mind this yet, but mind it 50-50, you know what I mean? That sort of thing. Do you guys think that you should be doing that? And is there an opportunity to do that?
Yeah, of course. But I think the understanding that we have gotten is a message of balance. Because one, while we want to tell people who are creative to also be educated, we want to tell people who have been exposed only to academic education that art is a discipline that is high education as well.
Right.
So if you want to be an artist, just accept it wholeheartedly and immerse yourself into it. And that in itself is education. Like that in itself is philosophy. That in itself is business. That in itself is anthropology. That in itself is maths. It is money. It is finance. So if you're doing it, do the thing,
Right.
So be careful not to tell people, have something to fall back on, because I resist that 100%. I resist the idea of having a passion while at the same time creating a nest to fall back on. Right. Nah, if you jump. If you jump. But know that when you're jumping, you have to take all the dimensions, all the calculations, how far the cliff is, how far down it is, the wind drift, take everything into consideration. And that journey in itself, to me, is education.
Right. That's so true because, music is an art and science. It's usually just, pigeon cooped into being an art. But, messing with logic and these things, you see, well, there's maths, there's formulas, there's physics, that you have to figure out to get the right music so you don't, just rinse out people's ears and, people really fall in love with what you're doing. And,
yeah, that's good. I have a partner, Carrington, said too many artists not in it for artistry, and sadly, that's true.
What they say in Jamaican, passion can't ration, right?
Yeah.
I like that. So, you remember Dateline?
Of course, I was the program on TTT.
Right.
I think it used to come on around 11 a.m. Come on, man. You're trying to test me, right? Come on, man. Yes. What would you?
I grew up watching that now. So I came to the States at 17 years old, went to the military, all this thing, and, DJ, businessman, all these things now, right? But I always wanted to interview people because of Dateline, because of watching, these things growing up, on Trinidad TV, and, so you guys, Freetown also gives me that feeling of, older calypso, mixed in with a little, sprinkle of everything great. I'm boosting it up here. So that's why I really enjoy you guys' music. And I think that it's going to transcend. As soon as you guys touch down here and start doing more traveling and events and stuff, I think it's going to spread like wildfire. I see like Kes, Kes kind of touched with What Less back when What Less came out, and I don't think it really got to the West Coast as much, but I feel like Freetown has what it takes to really get into these areas, where there's like a lot of rock and, these different genres. Yeah, so pretty cool. That's another question I have for you here, man. So we talk about the melody and how you personify it as a 90s Shabarangs.
As a Douglas Shabarangs.
As far as the investment, right? So I used to look at the TNT invest TNT a lot, the publications and that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I found something recently this year that surprised me, which was they totally removed what the investment in music and culture represented in a GDP form, or financial form. And, now I only see industrialization and real estate and all this type of stuff. Why do you think that is? Or, it might be an assumption to you, but why do you think something like that would occur?
Because if that categorization of the music still exists, or of the culture or the creative sector still exists, there would be absolutely no reason to justify not investing in it.
Just like that.
Just like that. And we could go a bit deeper. Okay. Historically, the PNM is an industrial party. It is a nationalist party, but it's also an industrial party. It is a party that, with the most elections, but it also represented proliferation into the energy sector, into oil and gas. And that culture politically has never left the party. That is what their main focus is still.
Right.
So if we really want to diversify the economy, then the parties that are available for voting need to have some systemic changes in their philosophy and what they see as valuable economic assets to the country. And so far, I have not seen any evidence to let me or any other artist in Trinidad and Tobago feel comfortable that anyone in leadership or the opposition understands just how investable the creative sector is. But I think they know.
They do.
But they know, but it will take a lot for them to shift that paradigm.
Okay.
It's just easier for them to take it off the discussion docket entirely.
So, it leads to this next question, do you feel like, the sort of the underlying society or leadership society, have a love-hate relationship with arts and culture?
It's not hate at all. They love it. But conveniently. And conveniently because Trinidad and Tobago has always been rich.
Right.
We've never been a poor country. Right. So we've never had to break on the back foot and really innovate. We've never been backed into a corner to the point where we've had to abandon the ideas that we've had and try new things. And that's evidence of privilege.
Yes.
If you're a privileged person, the price of your bottom line does not change, even though circumstances change. Right. And the bottom line, now it is being eroded. Now we are seeing the working class are literally coming under so much pressure that they're closer to the underclass. Now that is more apparent than it has ever been. But before that, we've had enough cushioning, we've had enough convenience, we've had enough, privilege to treat the art as just jesters in the king's court. So we get fat from the industrial money, and when we want to relax, what them Soca fellas doing there? Tell them come over, man. We want to drink. And that has been the way we've treated our arts. We only engage the creative sector when we want to old talk, when we want background music, and of course, don't mess with we carnival.
Right.
That is, we reset. We are quite okay with putting ourselves under immense pressure to work in an industrial economy all year round because we have carnival to look forward to. That go give we the bush back and reset us, and we go work hard again for next year. is something deep and systemic in the psyche of Trinidad and Tobago.
Wow.
It's not hate at all. We've never had to depend on anything else other than money from the energy sector.
Yes, yes, yes. So we've created our own little jubilee. But with that being gone, right, with no carnival next year, what is going to be the ramification of that? You know, with the people and the stress and, you know, just feeling the island, you know, island fever, you know?
Drum roll, please. Here's what will happen. Nothing.
Nothing.
Because nothing.
We're chilling.
Because here's why I say nothing will happen. Let's look at who can make something happen.
Right.
The only people who I see can make something happen is the artists. The government has clearly let us know what their intentions are. Their intentions are, hey, health and safety first. Right. So we go postpone the thing. We go look at 2022. But as a substitute, we're not going to engage in any kind of virtual festival. Nah, they didn't mention nothing about that. All right, we're not going to use this time to invest in curation and video production, highlighting the other parts of the culture, the other parts of Carnival that are not as hype, so it gets kind of overshadowed by the festivities. Nah, we're not interested in that. So take the government out of the equation. They're not interested in having any substitute for the vibes. They're not interested in scratching your itch because you are around this time, the jumbie this. No, they're not interested in that. We have industrial stuff to sort out. We have health and safety stuff to sort out. Yeah, 2022 for that. So that leaves whom? That leaves the artist because it's our industry.
So,
well, if you listen to what if you are paying attention,
right?
Yeah, we just trying to still recreate our party. We're still trying to recreate a party as if it is life as normal.
Wow.
I do see that working.
Right.
Because what we experiencing now is far from normal. It's anything but normal. So if the artists refuse to take our heads out of the sand and really evaluate what people going through and what people need, then nothing go happen.
Right. But how many, you know, as far as business in Trinidad, right? How many people do you need to start an incorporated organization that, you know, creates enough investment from private people, you know, capitalists, and trade locally, you know, some sort of thing that's going to boost the culture, some sort of stock that you could purchase locally and internationally and make it a real viable thing. Has anyone even, you know, ventured down that lane?
There's a book called 1,000 True Fans. And the author of that book used economic theories to break down how an artist can be comfortable for the rest of his or her life if they had 1,000 people who believed in them so much that they will engage in commerce with them. If we had 1,000 people in Trinidad and Tobago who were really here for the culture,
right,
and not just the social currency of partying, could have been done that long time ago. But on that note, I want to emphasize on the attempts that are being made.
Okay.
So the Artist Registry of Trinidad and Tobago is a government supervised body that encourages artists to join this database. And the purpose of this database is to incentivize the private sector to pump money into artists so that they can reclaim it through tax returns.
Right.
Up to 100%. So if you as a private business get approached by an
100%?
artist who has, who
Wow.
has a certificate from the Artist Registry of Trinidad and Tobago, and you say, well, I have $50 to give you, then you could do your tax write-offs and write off up to 100% of the money that you invested in me.
Trinidad is a paradise. What the hell are you in here?
But that requires work. It requires cooperation. It requires participation. It requires actually doing what you're supposed to do. Ask the artists who be clamoring for the assistance and the help if they registered.
Wow.
So we're asking for investment. But what is the incentive we have to give the investors?
Right.
The Artist Registry say, hey, here, well, we could help with that. Businesses need tax return incentives. We will handle a part of it. You just do what you had to do. So even then and I don't want to cry down the culture on that front.
Right.
I would just say it's a steep learning curve at this point in time, because this is not something that has been part of the creative sector before.
Right.
It was every man for himself. Every man go figure it out. But now we're trying a more structured approach.
Even in these, what they call, first world countries, and stuff, people don't understand that concept of, non-profit taxes and, how you could gain from, investing in a non-profit, not investing, but giving to a non-profit and, writing it off on taxes, and what the taxes, gap or whatever, audit trail, stuff means, and going to jail because of tax. And, people, probably about 99% of people don't understand how that operates, So.
You're walking down a road, I'm not sure if you're ready to walk down that road.
Because there's, okay, tell me about the road I'm walking on. Guide me a little bit.
That's right. What we need to do is we need to close the gap between the creative sector and the business sector.
Right.
We need to close that gap. That gap a little far. But there are a group of individuals who living in that gap and capitalizing off of that gap.
Right.
On the surface of what they're doing, they could appear as artists and cultural companies.
Right.
But when you remove that veil, it's straight business.
Right.
They understand the business sector. They understand the financial sector of Trinidad and Tobago.
Right.
They know how to secure loans. They know how to secure investment. They know how to secure the bag.
Right.
But only as an investment in their product so that they could triple up on profits. And that does not translate.
10x.
Right. And that does not translate into movement of knowledge, top down in the culture. That does not translate into networking in a true way.
Right.
I mean, party companies just keep making millions while performers don't understand how the commerce work. Something is wrong. They understand. They understand what kind of business to register their activity under. They understand how to do their tax. They understand. They understand. It's men like McAltasia and me and Flippo. It's men like we don't understand.
Right. Wow. But you see, I definitely have a different lens there, looking at this thing. People looking in to invest, with that kind of lens. What is there, what's the danger for them? Is there danger looking for them in that situation? You know what I mean?
I would say the highest risk right now is ignorance. because we don't have the tiered layers of a true industry. A
Okay.
man like you who wants to invest, you should not have to speak directly to an artist.
Right.
All of that, all of what you proposing should be a conversation with lawyers and management and agents
Exactly.
who are acting on behalf of the artists, because you all will understand the language of the legalese, the language of investment, the language of business.
Right.
But if we don't have those tiered layers, then we can't call ourselves an industry yet. Or how we will. So let's just say, all right, you invest a $500,000. You're not here on the ground.
Exactly.
Who ensuring accounting done for properly?
Right.
You know, who ensuring that, let's just say, the first 3 years of the investment go well and we now start moving. But we want a company that will have some longevity. Who now going and decide whether or not we're going to open up this company so that it is on the open stock market? Who going and decide whether or not we're going and insure these stocks that we have? Who going to make these decisions? You can't expect artists to make these decisions.
Yeah, you need a
And
board.
our culture, as it is right now, is still artists by sheer survival learning to do everything for themselves.
Yeah. Wow. So there's just money just freaking just going through the crack, going through the, I don't know, just money just.
There is money available for people who know how to get. Understand what I'm telling you? Money is being made. Money is being made at an alarming rate. Well, COVID kind of caused things to slow down a bit, but backdate from COVID.
Right.
The culture of Trinidad and Tobago is a multi-million-dollar sector.
Oh, yeah.
The fact that you don't see primary creators getting rich don't mean that money not being made. Nah, money being made.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the products, the kind of marketing I see and the kind of equipment used to create this stuff, and you know what I mean? I know.
You're talking.
You know? We just need, like you said, to have a governing body. But, you know, I think what would be good for Trinidad is nothing from the government, actually, you know, because Trinidad is a little America. It's really a capitalistic type of thinking and society, right? Inside of a socialism kind of thing going on, right? So if you really want to make money, you gotta think capitalistic, right? And get the right intellectual property inside there to make decisions and govern everything. And, you know, talking about intellectual property or intellectual, you know, just governance and taxation, right? There's so much of smart people from Trinidad all over the world, and Trinidad don't even make money off of them, right? They just go, come back, you know. Anyone from the United States who have an education and a passport from the United States is tax them for their intellectual smarts, intellectual capital, you know? So even the artists, you know, folks like you guys making all this good music, just the knowledge you guys have. Any of these big companies get a hold of you in the States, they want to keep you, right?
That's
they
right.
want that sound, they want that tacit knowledge.
That's right.
So not only as an artist you could get paid, but you can get paid for just showing men how to tweak something so and do something like this, you know? It's crazy.
There are job titles created for people who know.
Exactly.
You don't have to lift a muscle. You don't have to do anything. All you have to do is share what you know. Because in your economy, the value, the dollar value of knowledge is understood.
Right. Holy moly. Holy moly. Look, we had to play something, man.
Yeah, man, play some music. Play some music, man.
I'm going to play, you know, right off of Spotify, top 10 The one on the top tippity top, and that's Feel the Love.
May your heart find peace anywhere you come from. Coulda up, you coulda down. Blessings on my nation. This is the cure. My vibes too high, and my heart is told me jump right now. You will touch the sky. Feel my love unfolding like a laughing flame. All who did not know me when not done, they gon' know the name. Million people coming down, dancing to a song. Love is life and life is love. Blessings from above.
Let me tell you, the first time, right, I heard this song,
Mm-hmm.
I felt super sad.
You felt what?
I felt sad, and I don't know why. The second time I heard the song, I couldn't wait to hear the chorus because the amount of joy I felt. I didn't understand it, you know? I didn't understand why I felt sad when I first heard the song, though, you know? Why? Can you tell me why you think I might have felt sad when I first heard the song?
I might be tempted to say not sad. You probably felt overwhelmed.
Overwhelmed.
Because when in a state of being overwhelmed, it's actually all your emotions competing for who should be felt first now. And that could come across as being, you know, just a deadlock, which the closest thing to that we have is melancholy or sadness, because it's not open joy. But yeah, and I mean, when you know something, and that thing is a real instinctual feeling, being overwhelmed is the most appropriate response.
Yes. I love it, man. So, if we don't forget what I was going to say, you know.
Man. It seems like people enjoying the music.
Yes. What was the mood in the studio when you guys, you know, wrap up this tune? You know, so Mohammed he mostly does the vocals, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're the guy in the lab really coming up with the melody and everything and the instruments, or you have other players as well helping to organize the track?
For this song in particular, the musical idea, the composition was between Muhammad and Private Ryan.
Wow.
So yeah, so I wasn't there for most of the early recording, the early songwriting. I miss out on that magic. But I was there with Sheriff, which is our longtime producer, one of my mentors, getting the final mix right. And it was just magic. And that was close to the carnival drumbeat coming out of the ocean and coming over Port of Spain. So you're already in your fields, and we just knew. Even if two people feel it, they well feel it.
You said they well feel it. Yes. So what about with Human Form? You really were involved in Human Form?
Yeah, man. Well, the guitar, yeah. For the Born in Darkness album, we locked in with Sheriff, and yeah, so all of the instrumentation on that, arrangement on that, was a whole let's say co-production relationship to get the musical ideas expressed. We needed to call for some expert help because the ideas were big.
Of course, I will save this live. I am Carrington. I'll save it definitely. But look, for the people and them passing through, you know, when I do my little SEO hunting, you know, for the Seattle area, I want them to hear Human Form, right? Because I feel like they will definitely love it. So maybe the people of Trinidad and Tobago and whoever in the Caribbean, you know, they may not have heard it either. So let me get them a little something of the
Come
Human
on,
Form.
drop it, drop it, drop it.
Alright.
You can turn it up too.
I'm okay in my human form. That's just the calm before the storm. In my head it keeps raging on. Oh my brother, can you hear the song? Many years ago I had a dream. I sold my dream so I could eat. Now I'm eating and I am born. I lost my soul and gave away. I walk these streets alone with my worries. If you're looking for me, then I'm sorry. I'll be gone in the morning. I know that I'm calling is fire, fire. Yeah. Ooh, he's so deep. I just love it when he speak. Have the right amount of brains and the right amount of street. They say, ooh, he's on it. Every pocket, every plate. Have a preacher, have a cook with baking soda recipes. What them demons want with me? No, I don't really know. Keep them fast so you can say. No, I don't let them show. Take my apologies. If you've been here before, welcome to this masterpiece. My life should be a show. Hey.
Mm.
Now what you see is what you get. Press this button and reset. Yes, wilder than the West, you might just get your chest wet. Red, get up on your shirt and put you under house arrest. Flesh, eating, biting bullets, watch them coming at your head. Take them with them alone too long, now they hungry. It's too late to run, I'm sorry. Outside they calling and all that they balling is fire, fire. That's just the calm before the storm. In my head keeps raging on. Oh my brother, can you hear the song? Oh, your bad soul!
Oh, you bad
Mm.
so, oh, you bad so.
Mm. 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 And the funny thing is, this song is speaking to exactly what is happening in your country right now.
Yes.
Yeah. The people
Oh,
feeling the
gosh.
angst.
Huh?
I say the people are feeling the angst. Right now, your country is on edge. Like,
Oh, yeah.
the tension is in
Tension
the
in your
air.
body. Tension in your soul. Tension in
Yeah.
your body.
Mm.
What happened?
Nah,
But
just
blood running
saying.
cold, but blood running cold.
The
Easy
blood running
tension.
cold. Mighty Shadow Boy.
Mm-hmm.
Quoting from an ex island mate of mine, an ex Tobago man, an ex Tobago king.
Wow, 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 wow. You know, great music, brother. I have another question for you here, and it's about the age gap. So, you know, there's such a huge age gap between Mighty Sparrow, Calypso Rose, Bungie, Marshall Montano, right?
Mhm.
You know, and then, you know, there's a ton of music in between that as well, between that time frame, and then, you know, and then you think the gap between like Marshall and Bungie and even Freetown, right, is gonna get closer together compared to how it was in the past.
Yeah, I mean, right now, let's just look at who the new school of soca is. There's a lot more of them than were. Is it fair to say that? I mean, okay. So, to be fair, Marshall is our first child superstar.
Okay.
When he was 4 years old, starting to do talent shows, when he was officially 11 in his first competition, he was already in tents with Kitchener and Sparrow and Shadow and all of the Calypso greats that we know.
Wow.
Marshall was gracing stage with them. So he is a different case. He is an enigma because of that. So his career started since he was a child, and we could say he's still active.
Right.
Midway in between there, we had this new chapter of Raga Soca, where Bunji Garlin and the Asylum family, inclusive of 3 sons, came, and what really inspired them was the Rapso chapter. So you had this whole Black conscious Rapso movement. It's so many overlaps, because you had the Rapso stalwarts, right? And
Resistance and them guys.
Brother Resistance. So let's just say Brother Resistance, Nigel and Marvin Lewis, to name a few, right?
That's a clan.
But they ran into Kiskidi Caravan.
Right.
So you had these young Trinidadian artists who were being heavily influenced by dancehall, Superchild, General Grant, and hip hop, Homefront, Kindred, and combining the local and foreign influences to have this new soca child, which became Raga Soca. So they now influenced a young Ataclan, a young Bunji, the Asylum family, 3 sons, that whole period, and they ran for like let's comfortably call that a decade.
Oh, you forget about Tree Canal.
Tree Canal, all right, Tree Canal.
Wow.
Boom, right? So let's comfortably call that a decade. All the while, Marshall still active. All the while, Destra made her entrance. Fayan made her entrance, and they continuing becoming more present in their careers, contributing more and more hits, road marches, popular vote songs, etc., etc. Then I would say the new school really started, and this might be a hot take, I might get fight for this take, but I would stand up. The new school really started under the Marshall Montano Ecstatic HD camp, because he used the HD chapter of his career as an incubator to bring in young writers, to bring in young performers, and that prepared them to branch off on their own. So we had Patrice making an entrance during that time. We had Umi Makano making his entrance during that time. We had Zan making his entrance during that time. And a couple others. And they began fashioning this new sound of soca.
Right.
And then we have the latest chapter, which I would say their OG is really Irfan Alves.
What? Really?
Yeah. This new, like Second Star, Preedy, Nyla, I mean, their OG is Irfan.
Wow.
Because Irfan come from Calypso competitions.
Right.
And then had this massive song. Well, he has been singing, but I think it's In Your Eyes. In Your Eyes was a definite.
You sure that OG is not H2O Flow?
Nah, don't do me that. Don't do me that.
I just wanted to throw you off there. I wanted to throw you off there.
No, don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do it. But like the new school, the school that we call in the new school.
Right.
I would say the chapter of that song, the really smooth crooning, but
The
still
groovy soca.
Yes, this new chapter of groovy. I would say this is my take. This is my take. All you could have, all you take if all you want.
Right.
I would say you'll be hard pressed to find somebody before Irfan as impactful as Irfan who's still in the new class.
In the new class.
And really and truly they're not new, but because the OG is still active and they wouldn't get out the way, I still had to call them new.
But I mean, Bungie and Marshall, I feel like they're still kind of, teetering towards OG of the. They're kind of in the middle still too. They could still be OGs of the new class folks as well. I feel like I can't even call that. What's his name? You see, I can't even remember his name right.
Nah, I wouldn't say. I would say is like having a big brother. It's like saying you are 19 years old.
Right.
You have a brother 21 and you have a brother 30 years old. Technically, your 30-year-old brother is all your boss.
Right.
But you as a 19-year-old, you learning from your 21-year-old brother. Not really your 30-year-old brother. He will have the respect as the most senior. But he not really your OG because he not active in your development.
Okay. I see
of youthful artists who just hang out, who you see them in gigs together, you see them flying. So let me call it. Let's say Voice. Let's say College Boy Jesse.
Yes.
Let's say Pretty. Let's say Nana can't call Kes because Kes is in a different class and I will explain why. Let's say Nyla. Let's say Second Star. Who else? I have a couple young ones who just come in and out too. But this whole new class of soca artists that killing it, that seem to be more united than the seniors. I remember Irfan being one of the first.
I would go as far as to say that Kes is the OG of those guys.
And I would take that. I would take
Kes because I think I seen Kes, like in the little Lara Fett something, you know what I mean? Like when he was now coming out, when Destra was mashing up Lara Fett, Kes was like, the voice.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think like he would be the OG of these.
Yeah, the reason why I didn't put Kes in any of the chapters is because before their foray into soca properly in 2005, I think that's the date they give, they were already a band. Like they were already doing alternative music, they were already doing covers, they were already performing as brothers, they were already doing music. So they didn't have to, let's say, start from zero now.
Right. Yes.
They were already into performance. They were already, I would say they were already proper artists. And of all of the bands it is one of the similarities, I would say, between Freetown and Kes the band. We have a live repertoire that could hold people for over an hour, probably close to 2 hours, probably 2.5 to 3 hours, that don't have a drop of soca in it. Same with Kes.
Wow.
He would be able to Kes the band will be able to entertain people for a very long time without any of their soca hits inside there. And that's a kind of cheat code. So that's why I don't put him in any of the classes, really.
Okay. Well, if we talking about transcendence and, going across borders, that's perfect, for perfect vehicle, right? For bringing soca, undercover and then hitting them with it now, you know.
I would say so
So,
too. I would say
man,
so
you know,
too.
my dream is to have a calypso soca type of musical that takes you through calypso and soca and Trinidad culture, you know, with a live band, like, you know, orchestra style, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
And that is what I think would change the game as far as, you know, having like an actual road show, you know, this soca music, this is soca, this is, you know, something like that, you know. I think
Hmm.
people will, I think something I could just, I think that's better than Kiskadi Caravan or, you know, what they call it, I can't remember. But
Caravan, Kiskidi
yeah,
Caravan.
Kiskadi Caravan, yeah. So, you know, because it's gonna really be like, you know, that like a change agent kind of thing now, you know,
Hmm.
where you're really introducing this just, you know, just like an African show, right? Some type
Hmm.
of Zulu tribe kind of breakdown of, you know, wars and stuff, I guess. You know, that same kind of idea for soca music. That would be amazing.
Hmm.
Just want to put that out there in
I
the,
mean, I agree with that. That's a swell concept. And the reason why I agree with that is one of my concerns for the art form is um, music trucks on the road
not appealing.
cannot be the highest expression of our music.
Right.
Yeah, it can't be the biggest sound that we get from our culture. Like we need another environment where we could hear the music with some clarity, some definition, and just overall an atmosphere that can allow people to hear what musicians and mix engineers and mastering engineers have worked hard to present. That kind of gets lost in translation in the hot sun, alcohol in your head, and you're behind a truck with 25 speakers that just loud. That
Yeah.
have its place, eh? That have its place. Because the way that vibes is hit, if you never experience it, you don't know it.
Right.
But we need another more subdued environment where we could hear the musicality of the music. So I
Yeah.
agree with that 100%.
The amount of time that is spent into creating the music and the layers, you know, to compress it all into a music truck and to dress it up in a music truck is definitely, you know, yeah, downgrading. Not, not in a, you know, not to speak bad to the culture, right? But
Yeah, it's not the
down,
best representation.
right, yeah,
Hmm.
you know, it's like a Cinderella story, you know.
Yep. You know,
I'm
like
still,
my one of the ways, one of the parallels that I draw is Jay-Z's acquisition of Tidal, right?
right,
Tidal wasn't only meant to be a platform to for the culture, for hip hop artists to have executives that belong to the culture, that understand the culture and care about the culture. But prior to Tidal, nobody from the culture of hip hop owned a platform that played back hip hop music at high resolutions. Your best bet was YouTube,
right,
and YouTube compression is horrible.
yes,
But now you as a rapper could work hard on an album, get the best engineers to work on it, and if one of the final digital distribution platforms is Tidal, you are guaranteed that people will have listening pleasure.
yes, yes.
It's one of the things I dream of for soca music.
Well,
That we could own a platform that can guarantee clarity and definition and listening pleasure of the music.
some guys did that a couple years ago. I had that guy, I had Abi Israel on here, um, and they spoke about an app that they brought out to Trinidad, um, and it basically it got caught up in the politics and it went away pretty quickly. About a
Yeah.
year later,
Yeah.
you know, they divested out of it.
Somebody said, Neeks said, but some soca is made for the road alone and would be out of sorts in another context. Maybe, I mean, road mixes are definitely tweaked for the big sound system.
Right.
But even in road mixes, there's a level of musicality that could be appreciated on a better playback system
Right.
with higher fidelity. Like even even jab music, you would hear some things on a better platform or a platform that is designed for listening pleasure. Hey, I didn't. It's all a bacchanal in that song. I just want to hear the bass.
Well,
You
you know,
know?
it's melody, symphony, all these different things, rhythm, you know, all
Mhm,
those things that go into, I mean, you know, right,
mhm,
into the music. So, I mean, a lot of, say, take trap for instance, right? I don't think all those components in trap or, you know, all of those, you know, melody, rhythm, symphony. No, you're not really gonna hear all that. You're gonna hear a lot of bass, a
mhm.
lot of trap, drums or whatever, you know, snares, but you're not gonna hear something that you could transform onto a piano,
Mm, mm.
right?
Okay. I'm with you. I'm with you. Yep. Because embedded in the music is melody. Yeah. We are the melody makers of the world, you know. So,
Right.
fact.
Wow. So okay, I think I asked all the questions. I asked all the questions, but there's so much to talk about, you know, and I'm so happy that we can have this kind of long conversation, you know, the same way that someone would have this kind of conversation about another genre like hip hop. And
Mhm.
you know, it was exciting, you know, going through, you know, even looking at who is the OG, right? Who's the OG of the? I mean, do the youths have this kind of conversation? Do people have this kind of conversation? You know, is this the start of this kind of conversation? Because now we are at a point to where Soca could have that kind of conversation about OGs and, you know,
Mhm.
new school and old school. You
Yeah,
know,
I mean, one thing I would say is the younger artists in like this new school, and I hate the fact that I have to say new school because I don't know other way to say it, but they're not new. But there is an insane amount of conversation and communication among all of them. But somehow they feel as though the culture isn't ready to hear them voice these opinions aloud because they're still seen as the babies of the culture, you know? Because I mean, and this is our whole next long talk, but we have music to play, so I don't want to go too deep into it. But just the other day, Nyla, you know, voiced her opinion, and she said like, why soca can't be deeper? Like, why me as a artist, you know? And I embellishing when she said no, you know, like why we can't sing about real things like feelings,
right.
and that went off. And she like, hey, why hush your mouth and sing your wind up music and just whine and
So it's the same kind of concept of like how they treat not like LeBron, right? They want you to shut up and bounce the ball. They want them to shut up and just play the music.
yeah,
They don't want to
yeah.
get the contrast. Just
But
like yeah,
among themselves in private, they are speaking about these things.
right. Okay. Just like Bungie. I mean, it seems to me, you know, it could seem to anyone that Bungie actually got a genre cut out for him because he was
Mhm.
so good and he just, you know, made so much money for so many people and, you know, exceeded, you know, expectations with how far he would have gone with the Raga Soca, you know. But he talked about a lot of things, you know, going on wrong with his society, and he got a backlash until they just couldn't really, you know, put a lid on what you were saying.
Mhm. Mhm.
So,
Yeah.
but what I'm saying, I want to find Believer, and I want to ask you about how you guys felt when you know the original song didn't get as big until Major Lazer came and took it over, and it was actually a dub plate that they took over and spread all over the world. You know, how do you guys feel about that?
I mean, we felt good. We understand, you know. half of the battle is already fought with understanding. We understand. And with understanding, you could make certain compromises with a clear conscience. What I would say is, at no point we felt as though we sacrificed our integrity. On the business end, things could have gone better in terms of us appearing as performing artists on the
Yes.
track,
Yes.
but we made up for that on the business end.
Nice.
You
Nice.
understand?
It's good to know that. It's good to know that.
Yeah, we were not exploited, but it was a window into what the major league of the music industry is. And those who have the weight, how they negotiate. It's not the first time, and it would not be it was the first time, but it wouldn't be the last time we will have such negotiations to make. And it was one of the most golden learning experiences we've ever had so far. And I mean, I give thanks for it. Absolutely 100%.
Wow. Wow. I didn't hear that one in Alaska, but I heard one of Bungie's in Alaska. And the only part of it they played was hands up, everybody now let me see your hands up, right? From Major Lazer all the way in Alaska. So the hope is that Believer, well, not the hope, at least Believer is being played wherever they go in their set. You know, so you guys get the marketing from that.
Yes, sir.
Well, let me stick to the top 10. I'm going to stick to the top 10 on Spotify here. And I will play No Millionaires. We came close to the end, but we go stick some stuff in there, man. No Millionaires. Let me check it out.
There are no millionaires where we come from, but in the jungle build a humble kingdom. Silver and gold never buy a soul. We rich in we heart, yeah. We rich in we heart. I don't like that. Action over chat. No, we don't fight fire with fire. When the love can bring the love back. I don't like that. Action over chat. No, we don't fight fire with fire. When the love can bring the love back. Only monsters roll with the team and everybody fully dance. Kill man and woman and child and dog. Anything move gets slugged. So they hard go like the ice king. And anytime they see you have a nice thing, contract killer them coming with the pricing. Time for the slicing, things get frightening. You don't know what gone to the head. Got me full of walking dead. Ready to go to war for the bread. Don't cry, pray to God instead. There are no millionaires where we come from, but in the jungle build a humble kingdom. Silver and gold never buy a soul. We rich in we heart, yeah. We rich in we heart. Batman send a rising machine and kill everybody that pass. Change like the weather, brother kill brother. Things get dark. When I think how far we come from the place where we start, only pressure that make me love. I sit down and laugh. A bullet, no one word. Kill, kill, kill. Blood stacks burn. The street gets filled. Who run the world? This is your will. I will keep my word. Right until I see your face again.
Boy. Man, that's good, man. That's, I love it. This is, it's so good to go through, stuff that you created, going through music with the creator, this is awesome. So any questions you have for me?
Yeah, I have plenty questions for you, but I'll boil it down to two.
Okay.
The first question is, do you remember do you remember the level of appreciation you had for your culture before you migrated?
No. I could say that right off the bat. Not
So
until...
what ignited the passion now that you are far from fresh Curab doubles and Shark and Bake on Maracas Beach, and only nice localities that you can't have in its authentic form because I'm sure you could find substitutes. But
Right.
what ignites that passion for you now that you are in a different country?
Well, for me, it's a lot different than a lot of folks, right? Because I spent a lot of time traveling, and I was in the U.S. Navy, right? So I spent a lot of time in different countries, and my mind was just too full with what was
Mhm.
going on, right? But it's only when I landed in Alaska, of all places, I started to figure, well, I need to reconnect with my culture so that I could ground myself and know who I am and remember who I am and use that to heal as well. With the
Mm.
soca and the reggae and putting on events and stuff, to push the culture and that, sort of thing. Because for me, the music in itself was always an escape. Becoming a DJ when I was like 17, right? I look X-Man here. He's another DJ here from Trinidad. When I went to Belmont Intermediate, right? And I did CXE and then I left after. So, I used to walk from the top of Belmont down through Port of Spain, the red man I am, you know. Um, and, I witnessed a lot of stuff, see a lot of stuff, meet a lot of people, you know what I mean? Really, I was really in the middle of the culture. And I lived in PT Valley. And it was weird because there was rich people, middle class people, and guys who selling thing and doing this and doing that, and you know what I
Mhm.
mean. And I was always a sports guy, so in the mix of that, you know.
Mhm.
So at a certain age, I decided, well, I have to, get away from the block. I had to go and learn how to DJ. So I used to go and DJ and get away from it. So it was always a way for me to escape from, you know, stuff. So
Mhm.
in Alaska, for me to escape from the amount of negative 18 degrees and mountains of snow, I had to find myself and get rooted and stuff, So, and then, well, after moving about Dallas, then to here in Seattle, I decided, well, it's a good time to continue to push the culture because of how it makes me feel. And, you always want to share that with everybody.
Mhm.
So,
That
yeah,
answers the question. And the last question is, have you been able to introduce anyone to Trinidadian culture who did not know about a place called Trinidad before, did not know what calypso was, didn't know what soca music was, didn't care what carnival was, but
yeah,
was able to see a genuine appreciation and probably even admiration develop?
definitely. So since I've been in here in Seattle, I've done about 10 events, at
Mhm.
nice places and stuff, One event in particular I did was on a ferry, a big ferry, um, that they turned into like this kind of yacht thing, right? And everybody that was on there, I would say nine. Actually, I tried to get Five-Star Akil to perform, but he was coming back from China, so he didn't get to perform. But a few
Our
people
next new school
contributed.
name we leave out.
Huh?
Another new school name we leave out.
Oh, yes, new school guy. Yeah. Um, Osaka rhythm. Yeah, yeah. But anyway, the people, so some people don't know who he was, but I played soca music on that cruise all over the Washington, Lake Washington, and these, so in Washington there's a lot of huge lakes,
Mhm.
huge bodies of water. So I played soca the whole time, and these people were just vibes in. They never heard soca before. 90% of them was white folks. And they're just like, "What's this music?" They love it. They just dancing. They just vibes in. And so it was myself and a couple other Trinidadians as well. And they were like, "Oh my gosh, never seen anyone look like you guys. You guys are so beautiful." So it's not just the music alone. Is when they see us as well, it's the same reaction. So but there's still a lot of teaching and a lot of marketing and change agency that has to take place because what happens, especially in the western side of the country, right? There's not a lot of people from the Caribbean. So what happens? You get some Caribbean people start the thing, they'll start doing it, but then they fall off because they start doing it for the wrong reason. They might not, they might not be professionals and that sort of thing. So it doesn't make money, like it does in the Caribbean. So they stop doing it.
Understand.
Yeah, that's kind of how it
So we
goes.
put you on the spot for one last question.
All right.
This last question is this. If you were face to face
Yes.
with the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, the Minister of Finance, and the Minister of Culture, and you had to tell them in a small sentence why you believe Trinbagonian culture is an exportable product, what would you say to them?
I would say take a page out of the book of our closest neighbors, which is Barbados, who are always using the culture, using Soca culture, and you will see that it's a viable market.
Internationally.
Because Barbados understands how big the market is. And because people like promoters and stuff, multiple promoters, we have reached out to me saying, hey, the government of Barbados is funding us to do something with Barbados name on it. Are you interested? That type of stuff. Why should not do that?
Well, my brother, you have answered all of my questions. And it was my pleasure.
Yes. Yes, sir. Yes. It was great. And hopefully we can get some Mohammed too, so we could.
Yeah, man. That could be arranged. That can be arranged. Hit me with some more music there. Let me go out.
All right, let me go out with something. We want to go out with? Bless.
Anything. Use the DJ. Hit me. Hit me, man.
Even when you're gone away, I'm not forgotten. Baby, come close to me, let me tell you something. Every time you look at me, it's an eruption. A million bullets of love, it's pure emotion. And when you hold me, I feel all my troubles wash. And when you hold me, I'm a better man every way. When you stand here by my side, I can pass through any test. My love, I must confess, I'm not lucky, I'm blessed. Running so, I'm not lucky, I'm blessed. So devoted, I'm not lucky, I'm blessed. Love standing at my doorstep. I'm not lucky, I'm blessed. I'm not lucky, I'm blessed. And we go hold on, we go hold on. No matter what comes, we go show them. Love cannot be broken. These are more than words just spoken. And we go down, we go give them a fight. No matter what's wrong, I know loving you's right. And we'll be alright. Years come and years go, time don't mean nothing. You will stay forever young in my eyes. I'll be here in the end, cause I've been here from the start. You're a living work of art. I know you see my heart. And when you hold me, I feel all my troubles wash. And when you hold me, I'm a better man every way. When you stand here by my side, I can pass through any test. My love, I must confess, I'm not lucky, I'm blessed. Running so, I'm not lucky, I'm blessed. My love is so devoted. I'm not lucky, I'm blessed. Love standing at my doorstep. I'm not lucky, I'm blessed. I'm not lucky, I'm blessed.
Man, this was vibes.
It was vibes.
Thanks for
Yes,
having me,
yes.
man.
We could, we will have to definitely, after we see what's going on, do it again. I think great minds have to connect on some of these things that I was talking about.
Yes, sir.
My hope is to connect with the right type of folks to, make that type of stuff happen, because there are companies within Trinidad that, are American companies as well, that if you speak to the right people, they could make some things happen, you know what I mean?
Let's work. Let's work.
Let's work.
Let's
All right,
work.
brother.
Let's work.
Bless.
All right, my brother. Blessings. And I
Blessings.
hope everybody stick around and enjoy the rest of the show tonight, man.
Well, I
Blessings.
said, you go on,
I
the
did.
show go on.
Good one. All right, well, I hope everybody be safe for the rest of the night.
Tell them to follow Seattle Soca so they can see all the
Everybody,
interviews.
right now, yeah, you already have your phone in your hand. Follow Seattle Soca. You have to support the ambassadors who not at home but doing the work abroad. So, yeah, do what is right, man. I seen DJ X Man getting your pressure whole night, so I begin here too. DJ X Man, big up yourself. I don't know you, but
yes.
it seems like you're a groundsman doing the work too. So big up
That's my
yourself.
brother there. That's my brother there. You do any work there. I tell people, if you see a tall baller Trinidadian on the lake surfing or wakeboarding, that is DJ X Man.
I DJ X Man. All blessings, bro.
All right,
I'm
bro.
going to pick up.
Later.
Take
Yeah.
care.
Bless.